Good afternoon, traders and investors. It's Will back here with another one. Hope you guys had a great weekend this past weekend here. The markets did great today as well. 0.87 up on SPY and just as much on QQQ here, 0.85%. Very green day overall. We had some broad market participation. So in this video, we're going to go over our earnings previews for the week. Going to cover one stock that had earnings today, which is Palantir. And we are also going to go over, obviously, our major indexes, our big tech names in terms of technical analysis, and lastly, my portfolio. So without further ado, guys, let's get into it. So SPY here doing fairly well on the day, if I do say so myself here. Bulls playing great defense. Bit of a nice up day, guys, since last week was major down, since pretty much Tuesday, our Tuesday event of the credit downgrade. Overall performance, very broad. A few outliers though, Tesla and Apple namely. Apple just with some downside continuation due to earnings, and Tesla with a bit of bad news that their CFO was now departing the company. So they got hit there a bit early in the morning. They did recover quite significantly intraday, however, still ending the day red. But as you guys can see, very broad performance on the market. You love to see it. Financials and healthcare, decent outperformance on the day, guys. We've been calling for this for now the past couple of weeks, right? When tech takes a break, XLF and XLV need to take over. One day relative, you can see all of our major sectors, except for tiny little red on utilities down here, massively in the green. So very beautiful day. Now, if we're going to look at earnings here, what do we have left for the week, guys? Well, tomorrow before the open, we have UPS. That's going to give us some really good insight on our logistics system. We have Datadog, which is one of our cybersecurity performers, right? A few others, nothing too noteworthy, but after the close here, Rivian, we have AMC. That'll just be, just keep an eye on it pretty much, but I'm not touching it. But obviously we have Upstart as well, which has been one of our massive runners throughout the years, guys, throughout this year so far, guys, right? Upstart with a massive short squeeze here pretty much, right? So very good performance by them. Going to be curious to see what happens on earnings because they've gotten hit pretty hard in the past 2 days prior leading up into this earnings. And then obviously we also have on Wednesday, very big day here before the open, Roblox. Going to be very curious to see how that does. Wendy's is another one's. Vertex Energy, going to be taking an eye on that. And after the close, Disney, which is a play that you guys know that I've been watching very heavily. Trade Desk as well, going to be a very nice play to look into. And then Thursday, the only one that I'm really looking for here on Thursday is going to be before the open, Alibaba, right? Baba also kept down significantly here over the past 1 to 2 years. So very curious to see if they can now resume with their growth story. So before getting the SPY, we're going to go over some Palantir earnings. Palantir here after the bell reporting very good earnings, but not getting that much lift in stock price, only up about 3% after hours, which is very good, guys, because, prior to that, right, we actually dipped 12% on the initial earnings release, right? So the bulls were able to recover that quite nicely into the close. We'll go over this quickly. Palantir reports 13% revenue growth, issues guidance that tops estimate. This has been very good. But as I said, guys, unless they provide truly outstanding numbers that nobody could even conceptualize that would happen, the stock was either going to come down or pretty much stay flat, which is pretty much what exactly is happening now that the earnings call is over. All of your price movement is pretty much here. Remains to be seen what the market will do with it tomorrow, but should be expecting some green on Palantir tomorrow. Now, third quarter forecast exceeded estimates, implying an acceleration in revenue growth. This is what you want to see. You want to see them growing in the double-digit numbers, preferably high, right? 15, 16, 20%. Datalytics company bumped up full-year guidance for adjusted income from operations, so they're now generating more income from their revenue. And don't forget, guys, this is now the third consecutive quarter that Palantir has been able to generate positive net income and positive earnings per share. This is big because 4 consecutive quarters in a row, and you are in the candidates list for S&P 500 inclusion. And you remember what happened to Tesla. When this happened to Tesla, they also went on a monster run. So Palantir, definitely a big one on the watch list here. You can see they beat EPS, right? They pretty much came in as expected. Revenue also as expected. So not that much outperformance comparing to the estimates here. But very good numbers as a whole, right? So $533 million in revenue is very solid for the quarter. They'll be bringing in excess of $2.2 billion for the year, which is an actual raise on guidance. Slight little raise here, but still a raise on guidance. And as I said, guys, we anticipate that we will become eligible for inclusion in the S&P 500 after we report our financial results for Q3 2023 in early November. So if they get 4 in a row, which it seems as though they will be generating 4 positive quarters in a row, that could be a very, very big candidate for S&P inclusion. Now, right, adjusted income all the way up to $576 million. Very, 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 very good. And lastly, the company said that its board approved a buyback program for the first time ever with capacity of up to $1 billion. So you always like to see that, guys, in terms of a company finally able to start buying back its own shares. That means that they've really done a great job of cost control. Government revenue accounted for 57% of total sales. Normal Palantir's always had most of the revenue coming from total sales, but it's nice to see them broadening out, right? Even international government revenue increased 31% to $76 million. So despite the fact that they have mostly government revenue, they have been expanding their revenue sources and onboarding more and more clients. So you really, really like to see that on Palantir. So congratulations to all the Palantir bulls out there. Now, let's get started on our index rundown here. So S&P 500 still looking for the daily downtrend continuation. Daily downtrend at this point is now confirmed. It's been a good job today that the bulls were able to really stay above our 26 EMA here. You didn't want to really see them lose that, but it is always possible as well, right? So still just looking for a lower high. Anything below pretty much 459 is just going to be looking out for the lower high for potential downside continuation here. Keep an eye, guys, on Friday's close, 446.35. If we crack that, the daily downtrend resumes. It's all relying on the size of the bounce. And you'll hear me say this a lot in today's video. As yesterday, when I said that the daily downtrends were now in motion, right, which leads to weekly consolidation, what we need to focus on here is the size of the bounce. If they only bounce this much before cracking the lows, it's not very good, right? But if we can bounce all the way up to here, then you have a distinct possibility of putting in a higher low compared to our previous low here and reversing the trend to the upside once again. But for now, you got to call it as you see it. It is a daily downtrend, right? A series of lower highs and lower lows. So I'm still expecting at this point weekly consolidation until the bulls can put in enough of a bounce, right? If it doesn't happen here, we get a further leg down and then it happens. But this is the pattern that you guys need to be looking out for. They need to start reversing the daily uptrends, right? Very, very good levels now. We're no longer overbought on the daily timeframes on a lot of these indexes. QQQ, same boat as SPY, right? Daily downtrend is confirmed. Now we're just looking for the size of the bounce. If the bounce comes all the way up to our previous level, then you can say that the probabilities favor a higher low than our previous low for potential reversal. But until that happens, guys, the trend is your friend. We have to go. It is a daily downtrend at this point. I am just expecting a higher low for downside continuation. Keep an eye on your 371 level, right? Just expecting a higher low. Below 388 is pretty much going to be that lower high, excuse me. So anticipating the lower high for further downtrend continuation until our weekly consolidation is done. If we do continue to drop, guys, keep an eye on your 12 EMA here, both on QQQ and on SPY, right? They're fairly close, but still a decent amount away. XLF here, bulls with a great job. So now your daily higher low, you remember this, guys? We were looking for a daily higher low, anything above 34.20. It is now set. All right. So now 34.72 becomes your new higher low for the XLF bulls. This is playing out kind of exactly as I expected it. We were looking for higher low and then push into our resistance area. So resistance stays put, 36 to set $37. Keep an eye out for that. At this point, guys, your weekly higher low seems to be set as well, 34.77. Same exact level, right? So first leg up. Now we're looking for the second leg up. Keep an eye on this resistance area. Financials playing very, very, very well into this recovery story that we had today on the indexes. Now back above our 12 EMA. Bulls looking very healthy. Healthcare, finally, after 7 days of downside, we get our bounce. And as I was saying on Friday's video, this was the danger zone. And I was saying, guys, if bulls need to put in something, they need to do it now. And apparently they listened, because that was pretty much it. Obviously, we were targeting. We did have previous area of support down here. We were looking for not only your daily high or low, pretty much anything, right? Anything above down here. 129 area was just going to be your daily high or low. So now the daily high or low is pretty much set. I don't like how much how deep the bears have cut into this move. If the bulls can't get all the way up to the high, guys, they put in something like this, we may end up in a potential tightening range for accumulation, but that's fine. As long as we don't set the daily downtrend, anything else, I will be very happy. Daily uptrend is now resuming, and also your weekly higher low also does appear to be set at our pretty much bottom here, 132.20 at this point. So first leg up on the weekly, retest of your EMAs. That's what we were looking out for. Perfect retest, right? Horizontal support and EMAs. Confluence. You always look for confluence. They're getting the bounce. So we'll see if the bulls can resume for our second leg higher. But as of now, guys, bulls doing a great job. Bulls in full control of XLV as well, despite the deep cut here that we did have. Very, very nice day of recovery here. They have recaptured the lower time frames as well. So now we just need to reset the 4-hour uptrend and your daily move should continue. We're going to keep an eye. Where does it top out, right? Does it top out here and flush? Or do we get something like this, right? To where we might be able to get a tightening range at worst, or just a straight continuation based off of our weekly momentum, right? So keep an eye on that. IWM Russell. Bulls playing great defense today, right? We're still trapped in this area of support, of resistance up here, right? So pretty much 195 all the way up to 200 psychological, big area. We're still not able to get back above our 12 EMA here, acting as resistance a little bit, but bulls playing a really good job, guys. They refuse to flush this 193 area and close below, but just keep an eye out on it, guys. If we do close below, your daily downtrend will be confirmed at that point. But as of now, still just range bound within this whole little range here. We're going to need a pretty sizable push here to pass us through the 200 mark and continue. At this point, what are we looking for, guys? This is just weekly consolidation, right? Obviously, it's daily consolidation too, but bears unable to set a proper daily downtrend. As of now, just range bound at the top. What are we looking for? We're looking for just, this is a weekly bull flag, right? It can drop a little bit more or it can stay sideways. It's better if it actually stays sideways, but the bulls are in full control of the weekly at this point, just looking for your weekly higher low. We'll see where the bulls put that in. If we do drop any further, just keep an eye. Your 12 EMA around the 189 area would be my target if we do pull back. But as of now, bulls playing great defense. What do they have to do? Well, obviously, you're at this point, you do have to do one thing or another, right? You're either going to have to flush these lows, set the daily downtrend in a further weekly consolidation. There's support down here, right? Around the 189 level. Or you're literally just going to have to crack the tops and reverse the entire daily downtrend. At that point, your weekly higher low will be set here and you will be due for further push. Dow Jones names healthy, very good recovery today. So what were we looking for, guys? We were looking for the daily higher low. The bulls have now set it, guys. Anything above 35,000 pretty much is going to be your new line in the sand level right here. The bulls doing a great job here, guys, of not giving back too much of the move before resuming their push higher. On the weekly, looks very good as well. We were looking for the weekly bull flag, which did happen for about a week and a half here. And now it appears as though the bulls do want to push higher. Your next area of resistance, obviously your 36.5 all the way to 37 area. All-time highs, as I was saying, guys, in my opinion, Dow Jones is going to reach it, but very big day on Thursday. CPI data on Thursday. This is going to be crucial. But out of all names that could be affected negatively or positively by inflation numbers, negatively is going to be tech, 100% tech and growth. Positively, there could be a very decent rotation into value names here. So XLF, XLV, and your Dow Jones names could be prime candidates for getting some of that sector rotation if ever inflation does get a tick to the upside. Bitcoin recovering a little bit intraday here, very nicely here. So we're still unable to flush this 28.5 level, right? So 28.5 really appears to be causing some problems for your bears here. This chart is really absolutely doing a whole lot of nothing. Still dealing with our resistance area, right? 29,000 all the way to 29.5. This whole area here is acting as big resistance, but the bulls have stopped the bleeding, right? The bears are grinding down, but unable to get it done. When you see a grind down without an ability to push through, you have to look for the falling wedge, right? Falling wedge pattern. Usually when these tighten up, they tend to break bull. It's just like if you would see this to the upside, a rising wedge, usually it breaks to the downside. So unable to follow through here on the daily time frames. I'm always looking out for the wedges, looking out decently. That would also coincide with our weekly higher lows, looking to wanting to be set, right? Playing good defense of the 12 EMA here. We are still looking for a weekly higher low, guys. right? Bulls still in control. They control the monthly. They do still control the weekly, right? Now it's just a question, when are we going to get this daily uptrend reversal and really confirm that their weekly higher low is actually in here, right? So bulls still with a lot of work to do, but playing some good defense. Now let's get into Apple, right? Apple, very, very negative day on Apple as well, even though it only went down about 2.5%, right? Apple doesn't usually go down 2, 3, 4%, right? But since earnings, obviously this is the second day in a row that it's doing it. So what do you have to look at, guys? This is the one key factor on Apple. Look at this RSI. Now let me zoom out. Over the past year, whenever your RSI gets to oversold levels, does it stay there for long? I'll keep scrolling back. You guys tell me, right? 2020, 19, 18, right? 18, this was the whole interest rate thing, right? So we won't go there. That's kind of an anomaly. But you can see that more times than not, it does not cross your 30 RSI range. When it gets there, it tends to have a pretty decent bounce. So I took advantage of it. You'll see that later in the portfolio. I did write some puts in my sweet spot. So this has always been the case, guys, right? Let the stocks come to you. The market will do the work, right? So just don't be greedy, be patient, let the stocks come to you. Apple really coming down, oversold territory at this point on the daily. Love to see it. This is usually when Apple gets a bounce. Now, if Apple gets a bounce, does it mean that they can just do something like this? For sure. But when I target this oversold level, my put premium, if we do get a bounce up here for the rest of the week, let's say tomorrow and Wednesday, my puts are going to be very, very worthless quite quickly. So that's what I'm looking forward to here, right? So at this point, Apple, daily uptrend is obviously lost. At this point, guys, with such a big move down, you have to expect the lower high compared to our previous highs, and you have to give the bears another shot. Now, whether they flush into my area here or whether the bulls are able to reverse, that is anybody's guess. But as of now, I'm expecting a bounce for a lower high. Now, as I was saying on SPY and QQQ, the size of the bounce is crucial. If the bounce is like this, well, you can expect daily uptrend potentially being recaptured. But if the size of the bounce is small, and then we hesitate, and then we roll over towards the lows, you can almost assume that they will flush our previous lows and make a lower low, and your daily downtrend will be confirmed at that point. So just keep an eye out on that for Apple. Very, very, very simple technical analysis. Apple usually follows the TA better than most stocks out there, so that's what I'm looking for. On the weekly, what are we looking for, guys? We are just looking for anything above pretty much 160 to be your weekly higher low. So tons of space for the bulls. And like I said down here, the reason it's my sweet spot is we have all of this previous all-time high resistance, which is now support. So expect the bears to have a heck of a time trying to get through that in one clean shot. Let's go over to AMD now. So AMD looking pretty good, guys. Not going to lie. Give me a sec. AMD here looking fairly decent here. Bulls able to play great defense. As I've been saying, we are still stuck within this range here. Range bound between about 121 and our 107 lows here. So it remains to be seen. Can the bulls put in a higher low and potentially reverse a daily uptrend to the upside? Would be very warranted, right? Because now we're trapped in this range. Don't want to see a flush of these lows here. If we flush the lows, you lose the daily uptrend. You also confirm a weekly downtrend at that point, right? And you'll still be looking for your monthly higher low. This is why my sweet spot is down there. But AMD looking very decent, guys. I'm not going to lie, right? So at this point, remains to be seen. Can the bulls crack the tops here at 120 and push into the higher end of this range here? Or are we going to have to go back and retest, set a higher low compared to here, and potentially get a new daily uptrend, right? Daily uptrend hasn't been confirmed. I'll remind you, the daily uptrend hasn't been confirmed since all the way back there. So as of now, we've been struggling in this little range area. So just keep an eye out on that for AMD. But if AMD is able to crack these resistance areas, guys, I'm very, very bullish on the fact that AMD's higher low on the monthly is very most probably set, and that we're going to move higher into the 130s, pushing 140 area. So just keep an eye on that on AMD. If AMD does pull back a little bit, I will definitely be writing more positions between 110 all the way down to 100, depending on how far it goes. But I really like it starting about 110, where we're in the lower bound of this range. Amazon doing a great job here today, guys, of pretty much reversing Friday's losses. So continuing that push post earnings here, 2%. Very obviously, Amazon is in your daily uptrend. Whenever this whenever this upswing tops out, we're just going to be looking for a higher low. Anything above 127 is going to be that higher low. If we pull back right away, well, you do have your previous support line here, right? This used to be previous resistance, so it will now act as support. So the bulls are in full control. On the weekly, our bulls are also in absolute full control. Resistance remains put at 146.50 for the moment here. Very good job by Amazon, guys. I like this stock a lot. And with the fact that they're now back into posting positive margins and positive net income because they don't have any more capital expenditures for building more warehouses. They did all that in the past 2 years. And they've also laid off a significant portion of their workforce. So keep an eye on Amazon. They're coming, and they are coming hard. Google bulls playing very good defense here. Obviously, we were looking out for it 12 EMA and our support level. So no surprise at all that Google had its bounce and now the bulls are running for it. Keep an eye out on your 134 level, next area of resistance. But the bulls are in a very clear daily uptrend. So I'm targeting resistance up here at 134. Weekly bulls as well in absolute full control. Slight pullback here, set the weekly higher low and pushing higher. Google, you are looking out for now at this point, guys. 140 to 145 is going to be your crucial area, which is really close to the all-time highs, guys, right? So we're pushing. No red flags on Google whatsoever. Monthly chart, very, very healthy as well. But for now, guys, keep an eye on your short-term resistance, 134. It's going to take a lot for the bulls to lose this, right? Going to take a lot for the bulls to lose this. If they set the lower high here and flush these lows, right, 127, this whole area of support is your new daily higher low. So you need to see the bulls start to crack these highs and continue the daily uptrend. Obviously, if we lose these lows, guys, without pushing new highs, it would be daily downtrend confirmed at that point. And at that point, we're just zooming out to the weekly for further weekly consolidation right here, right? But very, very healthy chart as a whole, not gonna lie. Meta bulls. I mean, unstoppable, right? So what we're looking for, guys, we were always looking since Thursday, Friday, we were looking for the higher low. Anything above 289 would just be a daily higher low for further continuation of the upside. So it appears as though the daily higher low has been set right here at 309.85. This is now the line in the sand level for me. Why? Because if we now lose this, it would be daily downtrend confirmed on Meta. And at that point, you would be zooming out for further weekly consolidation. So we had one negative week on Meta, right? And they never set the daily downtrend. So it remains to be seen. Could inflation come in on Thursday and crack these lows and set us into a daily downtrend with further weekly continuation of the downside? Sure. But as of now, bulls are looking very healthy, playing good defense of the 12 EMA. Keep an eye, your resistance area stays put 325. And if we crack 325, going all the way to 330. But as of now, guys, no red flags on Meta yet, but keep an eye on your inflation for Thursday. Now, Microsoft bulls playing very, very, very good defense. You'll see this line pop up here, right? It's a very solid line of resistance. Why? This is your all-time high, previous all-time high area. And look how many times in the past the stock has bounced here ever since pretty much the beginning of June, right? So obviously I should be drawing a range more than a line. It's actually, 327 all the way down to about 323-ish. This whole area, very good area of support. My juicy spot on Microsoft is a bit lower, 370 all the way down to 310, all the way down to 285. So you're going to be keeping a close eye on that. But for now, Microsoft still trapped in the daily downtrend. But it's nice that we're tightening up down here. You see, like the drops are getting less and less significant. Remains to be seen if we flush our most recent low here, 325. This would have been Thursday's low. So keep an eye on this, guys. If we flush it, daily downtrend resumes, but the bulls are having a chance here. If we can put in a bounce all the way up to 338 or even higher, you create enough space that you may just get a new higher low compared to our previous low and shift into a new daily uptrend, right? So Microsoft has now been consolidating for a while, right? So now we're no longer overbought on the weekly RSI, obviously not overbought on the daily as well. Monthly has had its little pullback here, right? So Microsoft pulling back decently in the last 2 months, right? So July all the way through now, right? I know it's only been pretty much the past 4, 3 and 1 day weeks right now, right? But still significantly off. It's 52-week highs here, about 10%, kind of just like where Apple is, right? So everything pulling back decently, but keep an eye out for that, guys. The size of the bounce. If you go and touch your previous highs, if you bounce hard, you open the door for a daily uptrend reversal. That is what I'm keeping my eye out. So it really depends on the size of the bounce, or if we just continue to flush and push lower lows until our weekly consolidation is over, right? So weekly consolidation is still underway on Microsoft until the bulls shift the tone. NVIDIA, bulls playing good defense here. Daily downtrend was confirmed pretty much all the way as of last Thursday. So now we are kind of battling. The most expected result, the highest likelihood result was going to be a lower high, anything above 472 pretty much. Just expecting a lower high for potential downside continuation, right? Daily downtrend. But the size of the bounce is underway. If the bulls keep pushing up here, they create enough space to potentially have the opportunity of reversing this daily downtrend. You see, the bears were not really able to cut too deep, right? You would have liked to see something like this, but they did not cut deep enough, which is opening the door for the bulls to have a decent recovery. If we get all the way back up to our recent highs, right, it opens the door for your daily downtrend to be erased and daily uptrend to get back to the bulls. But as of now, we are still, until that happens, in a daily downtrend, expecting lower high and lower lows. We're still in weekly consolidation at this point, right? Weekly bull flag at the top here. Key area to watch, still 404 to 400 area. Very key, but it's very nice. The bulls are able to consolidate at the high of this move. Very, very, very good. So, they're doing a good job of playing defense, guys. Don't be surprised if NVIDIA can pull something like this and get the daily uptrend back. And that will have been your weekly consolidation. It'll just have been sideways consolidation for all of 4 weeks, and then a push to new all-time highs. So let's see what happens on NVIDIA. Tesla also, the news this morning that hit, guys, was pretty bad. You can see, like, right from the open, guys, we dropped and we were down hard, right? We were down from Friday's close pretty much. Let me see here. We were down at the bottom, 4.23%. This is decent, only ending up down 0.95%. Very good intraday recovery by Tesla. You like to see it. It's left us a nice little doji here. Still did not hit our weekly higher lows of 240 area, right? So we're getting close to it, but the bulls said no and they bought the dip. So at this point, guys, your daily downtrend is reconfirmed, right? At this point, the bulls really need to get back above 265. It's all depending on the size of the bounce. Like I said in the beginning of the video, you'll hear me say this a lot. Size of the bounce matters. If we can put in a bounce over 265, opens the door for the bulls to set a higher low and reverse the daily uptrend. At that point, if they do get a new daily uptrend, guys, you will be looking on your weekly, and this will be your confirmed weekly higher low for further continuation, right? Obviously, the bears have cut down a lot into this most recent move, so you could get something like a tightening range until potentially next earnings. However, you all know it's Tesla. This thing can move on any positive news, right? We could get a massive rally like this, and nobody would be surprised. Nobody would question it in the slightest, right? So Tesla is known to be able to move like that. But also, on the other side, if we only end up with a lower high compared to this high here, and we continue to flush, keep a very big eye on your 240. If that happens, my sweet spot for Tesla, 230 all the way to 210. But as of now, bulls playing pretty good defense on the day off of some bad news, if I do say so myself. PayPal, decent little recovery day today. Very, very decent recovery day on PayPal, up 2.66%, almost taking back all of Friday's losses here. So like I've been saying on PayPal, right, we need to wait for the bottoming process to happen. So will they be able to put in another green day tomorrow? We will see, but we're looking for the size of the bounce. If the bounce tops out here and starts pushing lower, very possible that we will crack to lower lows. But if the bounce gets started here, let's say, and we push all the way back up here and take back more than 50% of this drop, the bulls create a lot of space to potentially set a daily higher low and reverse the uptrend to the bulls once more. But for now, PayPal, loss of the daily uptrend clear. Also clear loss of your weekly uptrend. The weekly uptrend was 65.50. We've lost that as well. So as of now, back to square one. You need to see the bulls eventually reverse your daily uptrend, and then we can look out to the weekly. But as of now, very good. Could it just continue to slide down as it did right here, and then eventually set your daily higher lows. Yes, we're going to take this one day at a time on PayPal, but I like PayPal at these levels, guys. I really do. That's why I got to sign the stock down here, and I don't mind holding it. Palantir, obviously Palantir covered it in the beginning of the video, but what we were looking for, guys, very clearly looking for a higher low, anything above 16. So the bulls did get it. Now we're trading in about 18 in your after hours here. So safe to say, guys, that your new higher low is now pretty much 17. Yesterday's close, or pretty much today's close. What am I talking about, right? So new higher low is here. We got it. Bulls still in full control, closing above the 12 EMA. Very impressive recapture by the bulls here, if I do say so myself, right? So now higher low is set. Your resistance period remains at around $20 for further upside. Expect upside into the $22 to $25 range. That's where you're going to get a lot of previous resistance from everybody who's been trapped from the IPO. So just keep an eye out on that. But Palantir with some very good momentum. Obviously, weekly uptrend remains completely intact, right? So if we start pushing a bit higher, I will be very able to say here that your weekly higher low is also set at 1709 too, right? So keep an eye on this level. This whole 1709 level is going to be your new line in the sand level. If we push up and lose that, well, obviously you start losing the daily uptrend and you will be in further weekly consolidation into the next few weeks, right? But it's not set now. This week is not finished. So let's wait until how this week finishes, right? So if you lose the daily like this, right, into the end of the week, because let's say inflation comes in hot and growth gets hit hard, well, you're still going to be in weekly consolidation. At that point, anything above 1350 is just a weekly higher low, right? So tons of space to work with on Palantir. And lastly, my account. Let's put ourselves over here. So as you guys can see, right, fairly decent day on the account as well, right? So the account up a little bit today too, 56.59%, right, on the year. So very, very decent day today on the SPY versus the SPY. SPY's up about, 17% roughly. So very, very good outperformance, up over 3x against the SPY. And on the NASDAQ, we are still outperforming the NASDAQ as well. NASDAQ up about 34, and we're up about 56. So a decent little 20% outperformance on the NASDAQ with withdrawals, with drawdown as well being assigned position, right? So if I didn't make any withdrawals this year, usually I withdraw about 2-3% of my account at any given time. So if I would not have done any withdrawals, guys, we would be well above 70% at this point in the account, no doubt in my mind. So that's very good. If I can be withdrawing from my account and still, even with some drawdowns, right? You see there's some periods of drawdowns. I really don't hide anything. We started off the year negative as well. So very, very decent performance on my part, if I do say so myself. As of today, guys, you will see not much has changed since last Friday. What happened is we took assignment of all of these AA, CSIQ, and SE shares, right? So as you can see, I did write covered calls on them, right? So these are all covered calls. All of these that say 0 are either expired or assigned. So Amazon, obviously this one expired worthless, the 120 put. So we got all of the $87 that we wrote them for last Friday, or sorry, last Thursday afternoon before earnings. AA's got assigned at 34.5. So we wrote the calls here. AA's doing fairly decently here. Not going to lie. I mean, they're not flushing, right? So that's pretty good, say so itself. 34.5 is our strike assignment. So now bottoming out a bit. We'll see if we can recapture that throughout the rest of the week. CSIQs wrote calls for 55. You can see they're down. CSIQ did continue to drop a little bit today. So you can see we're assigned at 35. Our average cost on these is $34.30. So slightly below that now, but still decent, not flushing too much. Solar did have a very bad day today. You guys can see even Enphase got hit very bad. Enphase, as a matter of fact, down into my sweet spot area. So eyeing this one very closely for options this week. Tesla, obviously those were rolled last week. We got some very good premium. So I'm going to leave them on, especially until inflation numbers. May leave them on this week. And then we'll see, we'll take a decision. I'm not convinced that the bulls have recaptured the daily uptrend. I'm waiting for recapture of the daily uptrend to take these off pretty much. We wrote the apples 175. So I told you guys, when the stocks come to us, we will start, obviously my sweet zone on Apple is from 175 all the way down to 170. So when it hits the top, I only went in with one contract, not 2 or 3. But if we continue to get further downside, I will start averaging more heavy into Apple. But as of now, you guys see, did not even get the top of this contract, guys. Top of this contract on the day was over $1. I got 82 cents, but still very good, roughly 0.5% of the strike. So very happy about that, especially considering it's on Apple. And the SE calls, you guys can see as well. SE, we were assigned 100 shares down here at 63. We have the 62 calls. So our break even is pretty much 62 with all premium received. So wrote one strike down because I didn't think after Friday's close that we were going to pop above 63 this week. We'll see. They do have earnings next Tuesday, but we'll see. Obviously, this stock, very well-favored growth stock. They're not positive on EPS yet, but they're growing at a very positive rate. So very good, right? You guys can see their profit margins are still negative, but their revenue is growing massively. They're doing very well, and I want to give these guys a chance, especially if I'm getting it at the lower bound of this entire move down, right? So really not mad about being assigned the SEs. I will ride them out. PayPal, as you guys can see, PayPal, average price down here across our two assignments, 66 and 69, is 67.50. If you take all the premium that I got on these puts though, our average is actually 66.5. So a bit lower. So PayPal, we're going to wait a bit. You guys can see stock is currently trading 64.50. Not too much premium today, all the way up in the 67s to right calls there. So I will wait for more retracement of the upside on PayPal. But all in all, guys, today, fairly green day. So the only thing that I really did pick up is Apple this week as well. I'm going to be going a bit light. I do have a lot of assigned positions as well. I still have a decent amount of buying power for an extra 1 or 2 positions or throwing more contracts at Apple here. So we're going to see how it goes. If not, we're going to ride pretty much everything as it is for this week. I really want to keep an eye on inflation, but today was pretty green, guys. I mean, there was a few things available, but most of the stocks that I wanted were pretty green today, and the premium just wasn't there. So that's why I didn't write more positions. So hopefully that is helpful for everybody. If we do get a red day tomorrow, though, I will definitely be looking for some more positions to kind of load up the buying power a bit further. But I don't want to write strikes that are too close to stock prices this week with a big day of inflation on Thursday for that report, especially since a lot of analysts are potentially expecting it to come in higher. And we've said on the channel as well that it may come in higher as well and may lead to further weekly consolidation. So I'm going to trust myself on this. I'm going to trust the analysts. Remains to be seen. If it doesn't come in higher, perfect. Doesn't matter. We're going to be up anyways. But if it does, at least I'll have managed a bit of the risk. So that's pretty much it for today's video, guys. I hope once again that you enjoyed today's video. Consider giving us a like. Consider subscribing to the channel if you're new. And as always, if you have any questions, I would really like to have them down in the comments. I will answer them gladly. So I'll see you guys tomorrow after the close. Have a beautiful evening. Peace.